Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. Just thought I would do a video real quick here. I'm catching up. I've been slacking on the videos here as I've been moving around, so I'm catching up on after my run on some of the ideas I've had here. By the way, I just found out that Audible, they updated their app, and in the update notes it said fixed so that 2.5x and 3.x actually play at 2.5x and 3.x. So I turned on like my audiobook to go for my run, and it was on 3x, and it was so fast, and my heart was just broken because I was like, man, I've been listening to all these books thinking I've been listening on 3x, and it was probably actually 2.5x. Gosh. But I did adapt by the end of my run to 3x, so I am listening at 3x. It is harder. It did sound like the Micro Machine guy when I first turned it on, but hey, that's life, right? So anyway, what was I going to talk about today? Oh yeah, so I was talking about this idea about, I hear this all the time, right? I think I was walking through the mall, and I fall susceptible to this all the time. I'm working on this on myself. You know, a lot of things I'm telling you about, I'm working on, right? That's what I'm telling you about. I'm not perfect. You know, I'm working on these things. So this is like my therapy for myself that you get to benefit from. So anyway, I do this all the time, and I keep on hearing people doing this. It's like making threats. Oh gosh, don't you hate that when someone's like, you hear them doing that to their kid, like, if you don't do this, if you do this, I'm gonna do that, or they threaten their spouse, or they threaten their coworker, or they make all these threats, or they make threats on the internet, and it's just retarded, right? Like, don't make threats. Instead, what should you do? What should you do to make a threat? So you already know the answer to this, right? Again, like what I said, everything I'm talking about is common sense. You just take action. You follow through. You don't make threats. So, you know, I had to learn this lesson the hard way, right? I've had to fire a lot of people. And when I fire someone, what I've learned to do now is, you know, I dialogue with them, and I don't give them any indication I'm going to fire them. I decide whether it's going to happen or not. And if it's going to happen, it happens. There's no warning. There's no second chance. There's nothing. I just take action. I don't make a threat. I don't say, hey, if you don't clean up your act, you're going to get fired. I just fire them. That's it. So, you know, because they should know it, right? I don't need to make threats. If you make threats, you have a chance for someone. There's a lot of reasons why. I'm going to tell you one reason just in the hiring why you don't make threats is because when you make threats, what you do is you get people to comply temporarily and to not give you their heart. And so what ends up happening is a lot of times you'll make threats and you'll get temporary compliance, but people won't take you seriously. What they'll do is they'll just comply long enough to get you off their back, and then they'll go back to that behavior again. And this is horrible, and it makes you seem weak, and people don't respect you, and then they don't actually, you know, follow through. They don't actually do what they're supposed to do. So yeah, so don't make threats. Instead, you just take action. Another example of this is when you're you know, anytime I'd say, right, that you're in a kind of situation where like, let's say a conflict, a confrontation, right? Don't say, if you do this, I will do this. You just do what you're going to do, right? You don't need to say it. If you have to say it, it comes from a weak position. People know that, and they sense that, and they'll keep on walking over, and they'll keep on pushing you. But if you're someone who just takes action, and people know that, and you have a reputation for that, then what will happen is people won't mess with you, because they won't know where the line is. They won't know when they're going to cross that line. They won't know when you're suddenly going to take action and they're suddenly going to have harm. You know, for example, if you're going to get in a fight with someone, if you're going to get a physical altercation, I don't know why I keep going there, but anyway, if you do, right, I did this video on don't avoid conflict, right? If you're interested, and a lot of people were upset by that, but hey, that's what it is. That's how it is. Anyway, my advice for you is, if you are going to get in a physical confrontation with someone, don't threaten them. Don't be like, I'm going to punch you. You just do it. If it's time to punch someone, you do it. You don't threaten them, you know. And the worst thing you could do is threaten to kill someone. Gosh, you know how stupid that is? Because what's going to happen? You want to make an enemy? You want to give them a reason to harm you? You know, when you're not looking, that's a good one. If you're gonna do something drastic, just do it. Don't make the threat. Don't warn someone. You know, don't warn your enemy that you're going to do something. Just take the action. So many people do this, right? Again, you know, you see this in politics all the time. I never understand this, why we're warning people before we bomb them. So they can move their troops or whatever, or so they can counterattack or be ready. If I'm going to hit you, you're not going to know it. I'm gonna be smiling. I'm gonna look like nothing's gonna happen. But if I've made that decision, I've made the decision here, and I'm gonna come up, and you're not gonna know what hit you, right? I'm not gonna telegraph it ahead of time. I'm not gonna warn you ahead of time. I'm not gonna give you a threat so that you can respond. You know, this is just good business sense, right? Again, I'm using the physical because it's something that we can all sort of relate to. But think about this in business sense too, right? Another example, quitting a job, right? When I've quit jobs before, and when I decide I'm quitting a job, I do not tell my boss I'm thinking about quitting. That is stupid, right? Because what's going to happen? Well, they're gonna get rid of you before, you know, you give you 2 weeks notice. That's not gonna happen. They're gonna say, okay, you could just leave now, right? They're gonna get ready to can you, right? You just make the decision. Don't threaten them. Don't say, well, you know, if you don't change this, if you don't give me a raise, you don't whatever, I'm gonna quit, because they're gonna be looking to replace you right away. Instead, if you decide that the conditions aren't right and you want to quit, right? Don't, you know, same thing, I'd say getting out of a relationship. Don't threaten your girlfriend or whatever that you're gonna leave her or you're gonna get a divorce or whatever it is. If you're done, you're done. That's it. You don't make threats, right? Because as soon as you become that kind of person that makes threats all the time, people stop taking you seriously, and they're never gonna believe what you're gonna say, and they're always gonna push it all the way to the line. They're gonna see how far they can push it, and you're gonna have to keep on making more and more threats to back those up until what? Till they realize that either there's a line that they can cross and they can push you all the way to that until you snap, or there is no line and they can you're just nothing but, you know, a dog that has more bark than bite, and you're just gonna bark at them, and they don't have to respect you at all. So anyway, I think I've beat the hell out of that horse. Again, like I said, I do this too often. I'm trying to fix this, so stop making threats. It's more, you know, with people and with situations, business and all that, I've learned my lesson. I don't make threats, but in general, gosh, I'm always threatening my daughter. I'm like, you better do this, or I'm going to take your iPad away. And instead, I just need to take the iPad away. I just need to, like, do the action. So that's where my weakness is. I've sort of figured this out in other places. You know, you'll see me just take action. You'll never see me email you and make a threat and say I'm going to pull whatever, I'm going to stop doing this, I'm going to end this business relationship. I just end it, because I know that once that's out there, once I've made that threat out there, the relationship has changed. It's altered completely. And you have to realize that with whatever relationship you're in. So anyway, that's it. I don't want to you know, play this out too much. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.